Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Travis Told You on a Monday, January 26th. Why it's a Monday? After I just said, hey, we're gonna be doing Tuesday, Thursday. Man, it's a crazy week. Nothing actually crazy happening as far as our lives. Just like busy planning schedules. I did say that we were going to do two Travis and Taylor Told You this week. That's not going to happen, I don't think. We're going to be doing one for sure tomorrow. That should be at 11 a.m. PST, same as usual. But I had for today, for the week schedule. Tomorrow I have stuff for the kids, so that's why they end up moving side quest to Tuesday, and then we move some other stuff. Then Kirkland's busy, Taylor's busy, Dylan's busy, so we are going to boot the Wonder Man review, but then I think I'm doing the Wonder Man review at some point if I can get that done. Lots of just changes, and then same thing today. It's okay, well, it's going to be Monday, 11 a.m., and then my day job, which can always throw a monkey wrench in something. Monkey wrench came, so a little late for live people, so I apologize for that. Eventually, this schedule will, it will bounce out, it'll find a way. And I say for a while, I feel like when Travis Told You started, it was pretty consistent on the Monday and Wednesday, but so far it's been a change, but that's okay. Let's see, there we go. Get rid of that music. So yeah, hope everyone is doing well on this Monday, kick of the week. We got lots of stuff on the feeds this week. God, what's going on? Kirkland and Taylor just did their Seven Kingdoms one, their review for episode 2, so check out for that. We got, like I said, I plan on doing a Wonder Man review. Maybe nothing huge, might be a Travis Told You, so there's gonna be that. And my hope is, if not, I'm still gonna drop a list. Join the Discord down below because we have tons of fun over there. But join the Discord because we are doing our Mike setting up the movie box office draft for this year. The winner will get to pick us a movie that we watch next year. And I'm going to, for patrons, record probably just be a half an hour exclusive episode of just me saying why I'm doing this. So look out for that. We got, gosh, damn it. I got to just pull it up. There's just so much stuff. Patrons, this week, you're getting the Marvel draft for 2026 early, the MCU Golden Geeks early. Right now, the regular Golden Geeks are up there. I have to actually put up a poll. People, if you haven't listened to it, listen to it soon because we're going to start doing the tiebreaker polls and then start doing the voting. So look out for that. Bread and Butter is supposed to be this week with Taylor and Kirkland for the Phase 3 patrons. I didn't even know about that. They moved that. They keep moving it. We got the originals for the Phase 3 patrons with the Fallout review. I'm going to maybe review Send Help. We'll see how that lines up, but I'm definitely going to be seeing Send Help. And then this weekend, the Royal Rumble, me and the Gimmick Boys are reviewing that. If you want our predictions, we did a full, nice 2-hour prediction cast. Talked about a lot of stuff at the Royal Rumble. Always a fun time for theory crafting to see what's up. And I'm very close to winning this year's draft. And then GM mode, February 7th, coming back 1:30 p.m. PST. So lots of good stuff in the next little bit. The feeds are going to be juicing and full. So look out there. Days, it snowed in on Monday. Time to catch up on games. Nice day. Let me know what you're playing. Yeah, funny enough, before we get in the news, this is just a Marvel-centric news episode today. I was supposed to be playing, as people have hopefully listened to the side quest episode, me talking about me catching up on the Resident Evil series or replaying them, the remakes, etc. I was going to give 6 ago. I got PS Plus Premium, and I found out after the fact that there's all these PS3 games they will not stream. This has been the thing that's been going on for weeks. They will not stream for everybody. You can download them, but they won't stream. So luckily, thank you to PlayStation, they refunded me. I said, hey, I got this service for this. It's not working all. Because then I also saw reports it might go away. They told me, like, oh, we're working on it. But it's like, I don't know. So I'm still going to work on that. So that, through a bunch of monkey wrenches. This week is a monkey wrench type of week already. But And that's the plan. Check out next side quest. I got a lot of fun games to talk about that we've been doing. But let me just get this out here for the live people. But yeah, it's a big show today as far as just like Marvel news. I got lots of just like I'm pulling the full BS meter out on this one, so I think we're gonna get into it. But if you'd like what we do, head over to Patreon and yeah, support us there. We got, as you saw, we got 46 exclusive episodes this year for every feed. All the feeds have their own respective exclusive episodes. Yeah, ad-free episodes, tons of stuff on there. The most content ever. Very much appreciated. People like John M. just subscribed to be a Patreon producer, who I'll shout out now for an entire year. So thank you, John. Thank you to our Patreon producers: Aaron Braden, April Darkness, Jack Grant, Superman Mike, God Loves Me 69, Hidalgo, Lenny Kravitz, Cocktail Clay, John with No H, Sam Green, and John M. Thank you to all of you that do that. That's the best tier to be at, best place to listen. Like we said, you're getting 40, and now it's 48. Because now I've done, last week I did exclusive, or last month I did exclusive for Trash Told You, and now this, like, you're getting more. 46 is the advertising amount, so we are trying as much as possible to give you the best bang for your buck there, so we appreciate it. Let's get into this, because we know it's only an hour show. So let's see here. Let me just do this. So that's all good. And then I'm not going to be doing it today, but then I got a good question from Brent, former host of Marvel Alliance, to ask me, because lots of stuff today, I think I'm going to prepare for it. For some reason, if I blow through these topics, I'll do it live, but I still think I'm going to do it partially live. I still just want to kind of have a general idea. But he asked me on the lead up, and Marvel Alliance, so check out for their answer on the lead up to Doomsday. What is the 10 projects that are a must watch? I think it's just like this phase, right? Let me reread the full question just to be sure. Kingdom 10 Project LS, what would you suggest rewatching Doomsday? Oh, just even in general. Oh, that actually is tough. Because this saga, not that tough. But like everything, that is tough. So look out for that. And like I said, me and Taylor will be doing our final Travis Taylor told you, because he's gone next week. So it's back to me. Superman Mike says, I will forever remember Resident Evil 6 for having a logo that looks like a man giving a giraffe a beach. Yeah. Now you say that, yeah, I don't have great memories of that and 5, because we talked about side quests went a different way. But yeah, even the, like, take that out of it, like, just even the word Resident Evil. Look, I use this nice background for the video people getting ads. Here comes my nice retro Japan look, but I digress. Even the logo is like, it's that weird, like, symbiotic, like PlayStation 3 like had some bad logos in that era, but it's that weird gooey purple pink, like, I don't know, wasn't my bag. But I hopefully I will get to it. I I'm so torn, because I have to look into it. The reason I wanted to get the streaming one is because I don't know. I remember not loving those games, so I didn't want to outright buy them. They're both $26, 6 and 5. So I don't know, but at the same point, that would have been the same amount I was paying for the whole streaming service. But at the same point, I was getting lots of other games. So I haven't decided what I'm gonna do there, but hopefully I'll get to it at some point. But yeah, so what I'm gonna do is going to break down some of these rumors, and I'm pulling back the big BS meter, because most of these do come from good sources. They're all, like, I'd say, like, higher C tier or B tier, but still, you never know, and it's kind of interesting. So this is one I'm going to leave. There's one in there about X-Men and Spider-Man. I'm going to leave that to the back, because it could have spoilers. It's rumors. It's from a lower tier source and whatnot, but I think it's interesting as far as, okay, what are we doing with this aspect? So anything with Spider-Man X-Men, I'm leaving to the back half. And then the rest of the stuff that I'm talking about is stuff that's come up before, except for one. One I'm going to wait to see how the boys think about it too. I'm going to add, because as we said on the town hall, we're going to start doing for our multiple newscasts, is we're going to have a segment where news you might have missed to get people's thoughts on it, right? So this first one, this has come out like 3 times the past couple weeks. So I feel like it's kind of, if there's smoke, there's fire. And the biggest person to report on it, like, just recently, was Daniel RPK. And I think it's actually come from 4, because I feel like a couple weeks ago, somebody said it that was just C tier, right? And then Robert Meyer Burnett, who's on the John Campio show, he said that before, but he has sources, but not, like, he's not a scooper, right? But he's saying, hey, that's what I've heard, right? And then John Roca, who he breaks some scoops on his show, said the same thing. And then Daniel Rickman, who I put in the B tier. I put the other two in the C tier because they're just not scoopers. They might hear stuff, but then sometimes it's inaccurate later on, and they're not reporting that as, like, take this to the bank. It's like, hey, I've heard X, Y, and Z, right? So I'm not saying that to condemn them, just saying that's why. With Daniel, it's a bit of a higher level. So we've been hearing, and that's where it's just like the scuttlebutt kind of keeps, building up, and we're hearing more about it, that the Secret Wars. I was gonna call it Secret Avenger Wars. Avenger Secret Wars, which right now is currently slated for December 27th in 2027, or not 27, sorry, just 2027. But I have to pull up. I know this is far. We don't even have that yet. Hey, I was just wondering, like, they don't even have 2028. So I was just gonna see because Avatar is that is interesting, right? Avatar 8, or fuck, I'm mixing up all my numbers. A monkey wrench type of day, I'm telling you. Avatar 4, I'm going to slow it down. Avatar 4 has been dated for 2029, right? If that happens, that would mean, I assume, Disney's got nothing on the books for 2028. I guess there could always be a Star Wars and anime film, but as far as right now, we don't know anything, right? So, like, as far as like do I believe this? I'm a 50-50. If I had to put it, I feel like I'm a 51. Maybe I'm a 60. I still feel like I'm 51 because RPK put the asterisk of, oh well, depending on how Doomsday does, right? Which makes sense. If Doomsday were to disappoint critically or financially, they might be like, hey, let's just get this out and then move on. I really don't know how that's gonna go because I was gonna say I know money wise. Speaking critically, I don't know how that's gonna go. I think it could be Rise of Skywalker ish, right? Like we've talked about. So that's a Rod movie, not a critically and fan received well movie. To me, it would make sense as far as it buys them more time. I know people have said, oh well, Doomsday and Secret Wars, that's already two movies, like kind of split apart. They're not, and even like I know Infinity War and Endgame is kind of looked at that way as well. They are very different movies and the things they're trying to do, right? The MacGuffins, the character arcs, the even characters that are in them. Sure, they say they share some characters, but there's tons of characters that are missing in Infinity War, and then tons of characters that are missing in Endgame, right? So, and it's funny that we've gone back to this. So, I think it's just a few things that have changed. Not a few things, but uh, the overall concept of these Avenger films have not changed that much because we had always heard rumors of, okay, it was Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, right? The rumor, the working idea was that it is the heroes of our Earth, Sam the Avengers at that point, they are in this film. Something happens, a la like Infinity War. I think it was like a multiverse break, and that's where it's the multiverse heroes, right? They're going to come in and take Secret Wars, right? We're still kind of hearing that because I know we have rumors of Jackman and Toby and all this stuff, but as of right now, other than Steve Rogers, who is in a different multiverse, I know F4, but they're kind of going to us, so walk with me. They're still in like our 616 OG type of stuff, right? Other than, of course, F4 and Steve adjacent. But we've not seen the advertisement of Toby and Hugh Jackman, of other people. I guess you do have the X-Men, right? Yeah, the X-Men, I'm walking that back now. They do throw in, like the ones we even know, they throw in a monkey wrench, right? So that's the thing where before it felt like we were getting no big multiverse people and that would happen. We are definitely getting that now with X-Men. So X-Men Steve F4 is piling up. So I'm fighting myself on this point. I just feel like it's still that idea of like the Secret Wars is still primarily going to be mostly about the legacy cast of Marvel history, right? It's not going to be the heroes we know and love in this phase, or or Saga, or mildly like because of writing. Um, so I just it depends because I don't know obviously what's gonna happen in Doomsday and with Secret Wars. To me, if it is a warranted, if you can make Secret Wars flow like, and some people don't think they flow, but like I just rewatched it this weekend. I'm a big defender. I like Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part One. Granted, granted, I saw that with Part Two. I never because I stopped watching live in the theater after Chamber of Secrets. There was no wait for me, right? And that's where at the time maybe I feel like people push back against that. People push back against Hunger Games. At the time of it ends, maybe when there's like a year, you feel, oh, we're missing out. But if once they come out and release and they feel like they're close together and work, then I think it's worth it. And I do think it's a way of if Doomsday and Secret Wars are reviewed well, and also think they're going to do well money wise, I think it's worth it because you might be stretching to the to like the bottom of the piggy bank a little too much. Like if they do 3 Avenger films in 3 years, there could be some fatigue. There could be a Matrix, not the same extent, but a Matrix Revolution feeling, right? Because I'm pretty sure that was the least amount of the franchise, and like by a good degree. Let me just pull it up there, right? And that's the thing where they like released like 6 months within each other. Let's see. because I think we saw that with Wicked. Not that it's like a big deal, but like we saw that with Strangers, chapter one, chapter two. We saw that with 28 Days Later or 28 Years Later. I don't know if the releasing things so close together works like it used to, you know? Let's see the numbers. I'm just trying to find out here. Matrix franchise box office history. Because obviously, to me, it's not the same as Avengers, but a bigger event, right? So let's see. Matrix made okay. So Revolutions is the lowest of the franchise, not counting Resurrections, which came out during COVID. Matrix made 472, and then Reloaded huge jump to 738, but then Matrix Revolution 427. That's what I mean. I just like I think they can do the end game or the Infinity. Oh my god, I did it twice. The Doomsday to Secret Wars. I have no worry there. Secret Wars 3, like, or the third film, like Secret Wars Part 2, that to me does mean, and that makes sense of that report, right? Of like they want to see how Doomsday does. That is, those two films have to be great and have to, and you do also got to save some juice for Secret Wars Part 2, right? I feel like there's certain characters you have to leave out of marketing just to get that hoopla. I think the reason why it could work and why it could be beneficial for them is I think more time for the MCU to buy, the better. And if they can do a 3-year run of big money and winning the audience back, I think that's a very smart idea. If it's like, and the good thing is too, like you could go, it's tough because if you're going to film stuff, you might spoil, but like X-Men or other X-Men or other Marvel movies, you start to fill that and kind of bank them in a way, right? It's the same way it's like with us. If we got a spare day or something happens, we record episode, like look at the commentary track, right? For Star Wars and Scary Movie. That's why we have that tier on the Patreon producer that anything we record early, you get, but that's designated to release for Phase 3 patrons in June, right? And that's where it's like, okay, well, that's banked. We're good to go. It's in the can. It sits there. Same thing as these movies, right? And for them, bigger deal. They can promote it more. They can get ready more. They can reshoot stuff they want more, effects wise. So I don't think I'm completely opposed to it as long as it feels like a good natural break. They can, and that's the thing, they're not filming at the same time, right? Let's see. Superman Mike says they're started filming Secret Wars this summer. They can't decide after Doomsday. Part twos in general. Look at Mission Impossible 2. Well, yeah, right. That's another one. So, yeah, I think Mike, it's more like I think they're gonna make a long ass movie, and I think it's almost like they could make it 3.5 to 4 hours. And should we include all this, or should we just cut up in two, right? So I think that I get what you mean that they can't decide, and that's something that they can't wait for. So I do get that aspect. I think it's just the actual because they, and that's the thing though too, Mike. They can reshoot it, right? Like they can reshoot stuff. That's the way these movies work, right? They could do, hey, we filmed the movie. We are going to do two parts. Can we pay this guy to write some more scenes of interactions, right? Because at the end of the day, my favorite part of No Way Home and many people's, right, is the three Spider-Mans at Statue of Liberty talking. And I liked that when we got the whatever, it was extended cut or whatever they called it. They had some weird name for it. At least in theaters, it's on Netflix as well. That scene of the three Spider-Men when they were talking went longer, right? So to me, I can take more of that. If it's like, hey, let's do another scene of Tobey Maguire and Deadpool just chatting. Sure. Like that's what like the action of course is great, but what I dig for is the characters that are well written that we love and having those interactions, right? You could have told me like I'm a huge proponent of the party scene in Age of Ultron. I love that scene. You could have told me that Spider-Man scene could have gone for another 10, 15 minutes. Would have been fine. Would have been completely fine with it. As long as it's written well, it's not going to feel like too long. So that's what I bet they would do, Mike, as far as they would like they would definitely pat it a little bit after they shot it, but as long as they pat with interactions we care about and not just meaningless stuff or even fight scenes, that I'm down for. So there is a way to do it. It's just a question, will they? That's why I'm like still just like a 51% of them doing this. So we'll see. And again, a lot of things have to go like line up. I think both Doomsday and Secret Wars have to be a hit, but at the same time, they're not going to know about Secret Wars, right? If they decide to release it and split into two, it's strictly on Doomsday, right? At least so. I guess to me, it's like even if it's well received, it's like how much? If it's well received, similar to Infinity War or Endgame or No Way Home levels, and that meaning Doomsday, then absolutely I think they'll do that because then they're playing with house money. I think they got people in for the next one. Those bigger stars will get people back for Secret Wars for I imagine both of them, right? So we'll have to see, but I believe this one. What's next here? Sorry, I had a water. I should have said something. Uh, um, let's see. The next one, which we've talked about, I feel bad because I made this my prediction in the Marvel. Check out the Marvel Alliances back there a couple weeks ago. We did our Marvel predictions for the year. I predicted Thanos would be in Doomsday. The report was Thanos was going to be in Secret Wars. I'm like my BS meter. BS meter, the higher is better, right? That means it's not BS. I'm gonna say 100%. I still think there's a chance he could be in Doomsday. I'm hoping so I get the prediction right, but I think Thanos is in here 100%. Whether it is Doom killing him, whether it is him being another villain, whether it is, which I would like, is him kind of teaming up with the good guys. I wouldn't mind any of those scenarios, right? So I think that's 100%. This has come up as well too, that we were talking about this in our QA group chat, because this has come up almost pre WandaVision, like after WandaVision as well. But this time it was different. It was Scarlet Witch. It was a B tier. Scarlet Witch project in the works for the Mutant Saga. Now, we've heard this for a while. We heard a project. We heard for a while there was going to be a solo movie. The thing that's interesting with this, I think it's the three thing that's kind of get wrapped up together, right? Much like all the other things. 1 and 2 is COVID and the strikes. That delayed everything. Technically, we should have probably already seen Secret Wars by now, right? Which could be very different. Jonathan Majors maybe could have made it to Secret Wars if that should happen after the fact, right? I'm not saying like, oh, I wish. No, I don't care about that. If someone's doing that stuff, then whatever, part ways. That's fine. I just mean like, that stuff changed a lot of things, right? And I remember after, I think it was Multiverse of Madness, that Olsen wanted to take a break from the MCU. And that was the thing where she was kind of like working without one of those like long term multi appearance contracts, right? And I think that was just like, oh, she never said she was out, but just wanted to go do other stuff. And then when she did other stuff, she talked about like, hey, I'd love to come back to Marvel. So I think all of them need that buffer. I think it's smart to say that, like, hey, I'm always down to come back. I just need a little break. I think we would have gotten it. And you know what? I think there's a fourth thing too. I think if their master plan of all these fucking movie and TV shows when they came out, like the overabundance of them, if they would all come out and be a hit, and we were still getting those like we need 4 movies this year, the Scarlet Witch thing probably would have happened, right? Now they've gone back to this year. There's 2. Next year there's, as of right now, 1. Isn't Spider-Verse supposed to be out next year, right? Obviously they don't control that, but still they might think, oh, Marvel adjacent. Like, we've definitely seen that. I don't think fully when they go, we got to pull back. There's still Wonder Man, Vision Quest, Spider-Man, Avengers, Spider-Man Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, or Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. There's X-Men 97. There's one, oh, I said Wonder Man already. I think there's another animated thing in there. So we're almost at 7, almost 8 things. Like, there's still quite a few projects, right? But they're at least pulling back from where it was the 4 movies, 4 like live action shows, multiple animated stuff that works. So I do believe this. I do think that they're going to do some sort of mini reset. I do think she's going to survive it. I think that Scarlet Witch, they've done a lot with her. I think they're going to use her as one of the anchors in the X-Men realm. To go with this rumor, and this is one that I'm going to throw the boys in the future, because I know people might think it's an all new cast, and you could, but I just, if you have also willing to play ball, it comes down to the point of the reboot after Endgame, right? Because I always push back. There's so many people, especially when MCU was having their falters, like, oh, MCU should have rebooted. This was proof, right? I always push back because to me, you had people baked in this audience. You didn't know those folders were coming up. And you also don't know if you rebooted the entire thing, like just start over, if people cared as much, right? If you rebooted and you're not doing any multiverse mumbo jumbo, you don't have that Steve Rogers trailer to drop. You don't have that Downey as like Doom. Maybe he could have been Doom, but the idea he might be playing some sort of variant. You don't have a lot of those things to lay on, right? And for me, it was going relatively well. Like, sure, there were some misses. Like, I thought Black Widow was fine, Internals was fine, but No Way Home, Multiverse Madness, Black Panther, Thor: Love and Thunder, those are hits. WandaVision was a big hit streaming. Loki, those were big hits streaming. Like, to me, that's where it wasn't worth throwing away. Now it's more worth like rebooting or resetting because it's like, okay, you've made some things messy, made some missteps, let's change it up. And it's like the audience isn't completely there. But to me, I never understood that. And that's the same thing with Olsen. Like, I lay on the side of like, if you can get her in there, have her in there in the reboot and have her a Scarlet Witch, and you get an older Magneto and you work that together, right? You don't got to worry about, oh, we're going to retcon that he's his dad. No, you can do something else, right? So I believe that. And that's where I am a little bit taken aback. They've done it before, but this was a rumor last week. And this is one, like I said, I'm going to ask the boys because I want to get their opinion. Because with Jackman, right? There's a big divide of, I'll say big divide. I definitely think more people are leaning on the reboot side now or recast side now because I think always the hang up was, well, I really want to see Hugh Jackman with Deadpool and the Avengers, right? And we don't have that confirmed, but pretty much confirmed that he's going to be mixing up with Cap, Iron Man, all that stuff. So it's like you get to kind of same thing with the original X Men, right? Mars didn't, Xavier, or whatnot. It's like you get to eat your cake or bake your cake and eat it too. You got like the send off, if you want, of that Logan, that Hugh Jackman and Logan, right? But now you have a new Wolverine that's also played by Hugh Jackman that has some tendencies that got to interact with Deadpool, is going to interact with Tobey Maguire, hopefully Iron Man, Downey, Evans, all that stuff, right? So now I think before there was always this like, oh, I really wanted to see this, so bring him back. I think with this, it is switching over more to, well, I would like to see the recast, but at the same time, I've said this before that I think Hugh Jackman is going to stick around, and all these big characters, I think the way they're doing their 1 to 2 movies these years, maybe sometimes three, they're going to keep to the big ones. That's why like Shang-Chi being in like Shang-Chi 2, like obviously you'd be Shang-Chi would be in Shang-Chi 2, but I mean like that happening, I don't know. If you were to tell me what I think what I want them to do is after the reset is do an Avengers movie that isn't an epic crossover, that is 6 to 8 characters and establish them and make them all a couple A tiers and then B tiers. Put the Shang-Chi's in there, put the Miss Marvels in there and stuff like that. Like that's where I feel is more possible than Shang-Chi 2 happening as much as people want that. I just feel like they're going to go with their heavy hitters, right? And I always said that I think with Jackman, if he's kind of said he's down and they're down, why wouldn't they do that? Whether it's him as the main Wolverine or him as Wolverine and then Laura Kinney being that. Now, this report doesn't go against that, but that's the idea is that, let me pull the full verbatim here, is the idea is to have a new actor after the reset, a new actor as Wolverine, and then Hugh Jackman as Old Man Logan, which has happened in the comics, right? Like even technically, Peter Parker and Miles being alive after the Ultimate Universe shouldn't make sense. Like it's again multiverse mumbo jumbo, right? If people don't know, Spider-Man dies in the Ultimate line. Miles Morales picks up his suit. Nick Fury deems him Spider-Man, and then he's Spider-Man. But then they did a Secret Wars, Incursions, all this stuff put together, and it's like, well, like they get morphed because this universe has a live Peter Parker, this universe has a live Miles Morales. Boom, they're together, right? So for me, that's where I think they'll do this, and I do think there's something smart to that to keep Hugh Jackman around. I think it's like a little weird because you're going to have like someone like if their mentor is themselves in the future, but I think there's some fun things you can play around with that. I think it's some people might not like that, but it's in the sense of, okay, if Feige and company were to sit you down, if you don't like it, I'm saying, right, if you're in that camp, because I would have been fine with them using Hugh Jackman for a little bit more, because I'm down for Hugh until he doesn't want to do it or we lose him, right? Like, there's gonna be 50 Wolverines in the future. So people are like, oh man, we gotta recast and get the prime MCU Wolverine. It's like, as we saw with Jonathan Majors, anything could change. They could cast some fucking guy, and then a couple years from now there's controversy and he's out. It's like, oh man, we gave up Hugh Jackman for this fucking run, you know? Like that's the thing where it's like, I'd rather Hugh Jackman do it as long as he can, because there's always gonna be a recast for a Wolverine. There's only gonna be one Hugh Jackman playing them though, right? So that's where it's like, let's see some more. So I'd say to the camp that would be maybe heavily against this, I'd say, what if Fighting Company sat you down and said, hey, no matter what, we're using Hugh Jackman as like a Wolverine. We're not going to recast him. We're not going to say goodbye. He is money. People want to see him. People want to see him interact with other characters for the crossovers. We're not saying goodbye to Hugh Jackman. He's game. We're doing it. And to me, those are the three options. He's the main Wolverine. It's Wolverine with Laura Kinney, or it's Wolverine, Old Man Logan with New Logan. To me, and I'm fine with any of those options, but for the people that want Hugh Jackman not being the main Wolverine, it's probably best you go the third route, right? Because the first route is he's the main Wolverine. You don't want that, okay? Second route is it's him as Old Man Logan, but Laura Kinney's Wolverine. That would be the one I'd prefer. I'd be down because I really don't think that they're going to do the love triangle with Scott, Jean, and Logan. We've talked about this many times. I have, so I'm sorry I'm repeating it. I'll make it quick. Many times when they pick up F4, Spider-Man, we'll see that with X-Men. But with those two specifically, look at Spider-Man Until No Way Home, and even then they use the old, like the canon versions of those characters. They were staying away from what Sony had done. They're making a complete spin on their Spider-Man, right? Just like they did with F4. I think they'll do the same thing with X-Men. So I feel like they'll look at it and be like, man, the Fox movies spammed that love triangle a lot. we're not going to do that right away. And that's where you could do Laura and Angel, right? You can do other things. I'd be down for that one. But then, and unfortunately, the way it goes, I can see there's some fucking analytics or some person back there being like, well, we don't want to do a female Wolverine because we don't want to fucking bring up this whole woke conversation, this and that, and have people mad. Even though like Laura Kinney's been around for a very long time, I think Daphne Keene's a good actress that we can see her build more. And that's the other thing too, right? Like, well, Hugh Jackman's still there. I'd rather have him. So I do feel like unfortunately there's like a political aspect where it's like it's not the real Wolverine or it's not a male Wolverine that they want to avoid. I think they do. I think that all these companies now are worried about some of those aspects, and I think sometimes they over worry. I think that would be a case because I don't think X-Men's going to live or die if Wolverine's a man or female. It's not like they're changing Logan, like they're using Laura Kinney, who's been established in multiple films now, right? So that to me is just kind of like a cop out, but I do understand it's like if it's the MCU, if this is their point of a story, if it's the MCU and we want to establish our Logan, like the one that's going to go for a while. I get that, but if you want to use Jackman, he's there. John M saying, I'm not sure I like the idea of Jackman and older actors sticking around, though. If they keeping them helps bring in the money and keeps the MCU successful, it's worth doing, unless it turns into a pursuit. Yeah, I like again, I'm for it as I said, but I'm not John. Like, there's many people that are like you that want the reboot or the recast, and I get that too, right? Because we're assuming Jackman's at least in Doomsdays or in Secret Wars. Let's say he's in both, right? If he's in both, that means I got the trilogy, I got Wolverine Origins, I got Logan, I got The Wolverine, I got Days of Future Past, I got Deadpool Wolverine, and then the two Avengers movies. I got 10 appearances. I don't even count Days of the First Class cameo and Apocalypse, right? That's even then 12. But I got 10 media appearances Jackman. I'll be okay if they do recast, because to me the money on the table was the Deadpool thing. I wanted that even more than the Avengers stuff. I thought that'd be cool. That's a chair on top, but I thought, well, that's a stretch because they are going to want their own James Hallow, right? I completely understand that point, and I hope that's why they're doing it, not just like we're scared if we put a girl in the cow. Like, I don't want that. Like, if it's like no, we want like the same way we want Chris Evans, like who was around for a decade. We want the guy who's going to be our Logan, right? And I would make sense too if they're like, hey, we want to do who knows the roster is. Beast, Storm, Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Wolverine, and that's going to be our unit. That's going to be our new Avengers. We want to get our Wolverine, our Iron Man, our Captain America set, locked up, good to go. I get that, right? That's what I hope it is. Super Mike says, would you keep Daphne Keene or Laura recast? Obviously, I said that like Daphne Keene's a good actress and she could grow in the role, so that kind of shows my cards. But so it depends, Mike, on the situation. If it's just a reset and it's somehow Elizabeth Olsen's still Scarlet Witch and somehow James Hallett's here as Old Man Logan, then you keep Daphne Keene, right? To me, that's the thing. If they do this option where it is Jackman as an Old Man Logan and then a new actor as Wolverine, other than like multiverse crossover shenanigans, I think Daphne Keene would get the reboot because I don't think you'd see Laura Kinney for a very long time, which that was the one thing that sucked, right? Like, I was always down to see a lot more. I was down for, obviously Fox bought them, but at one point they were talking about making an X-23 movie. I'd be down for that. So again, my perfect scenario, Mike, is you keep Jackman as Old Man Logan and you get Laura Kinney as Wolverine. And then even then you can still make it that there is a Prime Universe Wolverine, James Hallett, Logan out there, right? And that's this thing and I would love it. I fucking love it. I don't think they do this. Ultimate X-Men has some peaks and valleys, but the beginning of it, if people have never read this, Logan is just an assassin. I think they did this in the new one. I've never read it. I think he's like the Winter Soldier or something, right? I want to read all the Ultimate stuff. When they did that, in the Ultimate run to start off with, he was working with Magneto, and Magneto sent him to the X-Mansion to kill Charles. And that's how Jean Grey and Jean Grey get together. The love triangle swap this time, where it's Logan and Jean to start, and Scott's trying to get in there. That's what happens is Jean like reads his mind like mid-sex or something like that and throws him out of the room. And I would love it if Old Man Logan and Laura know there is the other Wolverine out there, and if they gave him more like a villainous side and you get him to turn over kind of like Rogue was, right? Like, I think that's the way to do it, where it's like, we know this guy's out there, we just don't know where he is, right? And I'm not saying he's to be a villain, but like, you could play with that. You can even still get someone older than Daphne Keene, have like Jackman in his 60s, because Daphne Keene now is what, mid 20s now. Daphne Keene, she's early 20s. Easy, you could get someone that's 35 to 40, Jackman at 60, and then her at 20. Perfect. That's like a good age Gary like gap there stuff, right? So I would like that, and yeah, I wouldn't recast her, but I think if they do the other route, then she's definitely getting recast because I don't think we'd see X-23 for a long time. I think the rumors we've heard of X-Men are very legit of like the DDC and the Marvel stuff going to lead to Sentinels and whatnot. That makes sense because think about them in the movies. We've never really got Sentinels as a big thing, right? Like Days of Future Past, we did, but that was like this is the startup program and they're very slow and they don't move much. Like that was the beginning of it, right? And then obviously Days of Future Past, but it wasn't like the crux of that position was still almost X-Men versus humans versus Magneto, right? And then other times we've seen them before. You can do actually Bolivar Trask, or you can do Victor Creed's son. Like you can do a bunch of characters, Friends of Humanity. Like you can do that storyline, especially fucking now. Especially fucking now. Like, and that's the thing, right? That's where I'm very worried about the MCU X-Men when I talk about like if that is something where they go, oh, I don't know if we want a woman as Wolverine. The MCU X-Men has to be, and this is why I've always liked it, because I like I am a straight white male and all of us have issues, but as far as issues other people have is what females deal with, what people of color deal with people with different sexual rotations. I have not had to deal with that directly. It's just having to deal with it seeing via family, friends, etc. Right? But I still recognize, and that's why I love the X-Men. They are the characters that fight for the people that are cast aside, the people that are called weirdos or should be punished because of Bible. Yet, the shit that's going on right now, and this is what people don't like. I talk about the town hall, but the shit that's fucking going on in America right now, many places, but what happened in Minneapolis this weekend is fucking unruly and disgusting. And that's where it's like if you have fucking balls right now, like the X-Men are the perfect characters, and I don't give a shit if this is woke now. Don't fucking watch it. Go fucking watch whatever you want on Paramount Plus. Like it is prime. Like we are in, unfortunately, an age now again where the talks of gay marriage are going to take away in some states. Like whatever happened with abortion, like we're in this position of there was, I think, a time where it felt like we were moving forward and we were moving back or getting worse. And it's just like the X-Men can be the allegory for that. You can do something that they had the balls to do with Black Panther in 2018. And I hope they still got that, right? So that's why the Sentinels is on the surface just like, a bunch of robots. But it's like, there's so much you can do with that. The Friends of Humanity, the People Against Mutants. There's so much there that can actually, any fucking kid out there that feels different or has been affected or has like a family member taken unjustly because of this stuff or killed because of this stuff, they can watch it and hopefully feel some hope, right? Like that's to me what the X-Men are supposed to be. They're supposed to be some of the most hopeful, difference-making characters of all time in comic books, right? So the Sentinels to me is a perfect thing. And I'm sorry I ran there, but like we've heard about Sentinels and we've heard about Mr. Sinister. Like I said in the MCU, those are two things that haven't really been done. Mr. Sinister, they never got anywhere near. We saw a fucking briefcase in Apocalypse with the Essex Corporation. So you do that. And Sentinels, like I said, haven't got a full thing. And then you get to Magneto or Apocalypse or all this stuff, right? But that already is like a good 1-2 punch of Sentinels and Mr. Sinister. Boom, you're done. And there's other people, right? Superman Mike says, I could see them using some new Krakoa Mutant Nation stuff too. I would love that. I actually thought that's what before. Now it sounds like we're getting a reset maybe. But I thought they might do that in the MCU. I thought that's how they were going to explain that mutants were away, that maybe they were here for a little bit. We would go back Captain America style and show you that. And then they fucked off. Well, no, we're going by ourselves. I love that stuff. Me and Balgo covered that run, the first run of it on comics. That like really like rejuvenized the X-Men franchise. I think it's kind of had some peaks and valleys since then, from what I've heard, like after that era. But I loved all the Krakoa stuff. But again, too, it's like they're probably not like even mini fans stuff. Like I love that Jean, Scott, and Wolverine just decide, you know what, we can't figure this out. There's a love triangle. Let's just be a throuple. Are they ever going to do that in the movies? No, but I love that it was just like, yeah, we are a three-person relationship and we're going to figure it out. Like, I love that stuff. Like, to me, it fit with it, but yeah, I would love the Krakoa stuff. So I'm curious to see if this happens. I think a lot's going to change in the future. And even then too, it's like, is there a Wolverine in the very first MCU X-Men proper film, right? And that's going to be the thing of like, well, we'll know right away if Jackman's back or not. So I personally don't think there will be. I think they'll table it for a bit, but we'll have to wait and see. And then let's see. Okay, so this is the last one. So, and then just a little box office breakdown. I don't even know how much of this has merit to it, but this was something that it's been a twofer, right? So if you don't want, and could be completely, absolutely wrong. This is just like C tier stuff, but there's been some heat to the fire, right? Because there's been like for John Campion, I referred to him, Robert Meyer Burnett, where they supposedly read this Doomsday script, right? And they're asked about this question. That's how this started to get more snowball from people. And then another scooper that was C plus tier shared it. Because they had talked about, man, the beginning of Doomsday is crazy stuff going on, right? And then there was this rumor, which just the sound of it, I don't even know if it could be true, right? But the rumor of it's going to start with Spider-Man, played by Tobey Maguire, versus the X-Men. One, that is just I know we're getting at least, I don't know, but we're pretty happy. We're pretty sure, and I'm pretty happy that we're getting the Tobey Hugh Jackman interaction. I love the X-Men Spider-Man together. I love it. There's a comic, I can't remember what it's called, but when Wolverine and Spider-Man get stuck on an island together, I love it. I love it in the animated series. There's something, I guess, just they're almost like the two first families of Marvel. I love that. They're not the first families, but I mean, like in the Mount Rushmore, to me, it's like if you're just picking a brand, and sorry, one of my twins is popping off right now. If you're picking brands, it's definitely Spider-Man and the X-Men, right? You can make a case for Iron Man starting to build up, but still, in my mind. So this idea of like Tobey fighting the X-Men, James Marsden, Beast, Nightcrawler, man, what great stuff is that, right? And if you want to talk about how to start a film, how to be huge, how to come off swinging, that's massive. The thing for me is like, if it's starting the film, I feel like that's like even harder to keep as a secret because it's the first thing you see. But if you look at something like, God, what was the very first scene? Can someone in the chat tell me Infinity War was the very first scene just Loki and Thor in the it was, right? Yeah, it was the chatter and then they go there. So take that one out. But I think this could work in a way in Endgame when we saw Hawkeye, right? It's like we go forward, the snap happened, and then we kind of go backwards, see what Hawkeye's up to. Snap, his kid's family gone. Boo-hoo. Very sad. If I could see something like that where that starts off the movie and that's huge and they are fighting, and then you cut back to how we got there. One, I love Spider-Man, but it's like it's gonna be interesting. You guys know I don't even like the Sinister Six. If he's like 1v6ing, 1v8ing the X-Men, that's it. That's definitely like putting on, like making him like the Spider-Man the White, like Gandalf the Grays or Gandalf the White sort of power level. If he's just destroying all these X-Men, I don't know. That's something like, do I buy that? It's tough because I feel like we had this with Infinity War, Endgame, and Multiverse of Madness. Once we had these projects that we knew there was going to be lots of cameos or multiverse stuff, all bets are off. There's so much stuff. Like, remember the character list? I should pull up, right? And this was coming from like Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Let's see, cameo leaks. I'll see if I can find it. But there was a list that we brought about. Oh, here it was, right? I think this was the list. I remember I was talking about it on a BS meter way back. I'll try to full screen here a bit more. Yeah, we did talk about this. So this is the list. Oh, no, I shared the wrong one. Hang on. Technical difficulties. I got a little more extra time today, too, because the work thing took some time for me. So that I'm all good on that side. So so that was the list. We talked about this list. So this was Multiverse of Madness, right? I won't see comments. I got full screen. It was ever rumored cameo list. And this is where some of these C-tier people were fucking absolutely wrong. This was coming from like the same, and this is why I'm bringing it up. The same person that reported, hey, I have heard the Spider-Man versus X-Men thing, gave some of the names on this list. I'm not saying that means they're wrong forever, right? But that's what I mean. Like with this multiverse stuff, it's so easy to do that. And the same thing when people took the Campion show, because apparently, and I do believe he's read the script in them, because Robert Ryan Burnett, he got like the Chizarro script, right? Like they have friends in the industry, like that's happening, right? So for them to say, hey, there's rumors going around of Spider-Man vs. X-Men open Doomsday. Is that true? For them to be like, no comment, that can be anything, right? That can be absolutely 100% you're on the money, or it's a variation of that, or hey, I'm just not going to say anything because if I say something, the friend that gave me a script's going to be pissed and I'm not going to say anything, right? Fuck, John Campy is the one, remember, he's the one that leaked all the Spider-Man photos, right? Like he was the one, or like he had seen those before, right? So that's or no, he talked about them, but then he got some backup and they never got pulled down. But still, like, yeah, right. It wasn't him. So I don't want to give him that credit, but like he had proof for certain things to go towards that, right? So this was the list in Multiverse Madness. It was Tom Cruise as Tony Stark as Variant, Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider, Ian McKellen as Magneto, Ian Gruffudd as Mr. Fantastic, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, Halle Berry as Storm, James Marsden as Cyclops, Patrick Stewart as Professor X, Wesley Snipes as Blade, Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, Edward Norton as Bruce Banner, and Thomas Jane as the Punisher. And I think obviously just one of them were right. Patrick Stewart, right? I did believe the Tobey Maguire one because it was Sam Raimi. I thought they'd do that, but that's the thing where it's funny. We've gotten these like Jackman's back, and we got Snipes and Deadpool Wolverine. So they're a couple years later, but that's the thing where these are so stuff. So that's why it's like I went back and forth as far as like, should I put this in the headline? Should I talk about this? But there's been so many times where this stuff has been, even if it's C tier stuff, not right at all, right? So, and where I lean to, it's just like I think what it is maybe the X-Men and Spider-Man, if this were true, are in a scene together and they somewhat fight, but there's something else bigger going on, right? And at the same point, I guess it's just like I thought this type of stuff would be saved for Secret Wars. I still think with Evans, Downey, and then all the other people come back, they got enough juice to get to $1 billion. They don't need, like, they always can need more money, right? But like they don't necessarily need Toby and Hugh Jackman. Like that's the tough thing, and that's what I'll talk about in my box office cast for the patrons as far as when I make my top 10 for 2026. It's like that's gonna definitely add to it, and that's the thing of I'm making this list early. Here's my spoiler for this, and you can tune in the episode. I have not decided, am I putting Doomsday at number 1 or Mario Galaxy number 1? And the problem is because of Doomsday, and we don't have a trailer for it. If they pull the trigger on Maguire and Jackman those trailers, that's the number 1 for the year for me easily. I've always said you get those together, that's tough. And Ian Gruffudd gotta be the cheapest cameo to ever get. Says Mike, yeah, probably. I guess the only one you could hope is Nicolas Cage if he only had like a scene as a Johnny Blaze and then it goes into Ghost Rider. But yeah, probably not getting the same amount as the other people. But that's why for me, this marketing, like it doesn't need them. And I just always thought like, why would you start the movie that way? Is it just to get it? Is it just the hype, right? Is it just that's the dovetail? If you start there, how do we get there? And then boom, we get there. Or does that start off the events of the movie? I don't know. Like, don't get me wrong. I guess that'd be an interesting way of, right, of, hey, in No Way Home, we didn't reveal Toby and he came at the end. In Doomsday, we didn't reveal Toby and he starts off the movie. That would be a fucking everyone locks in right away. If anyone has any doubts that, hey, this is going to be a ride. And maybe that's the idea of, I don't think they're making a bad movie, but it's like right away you get people hyped. It's like, we're seeing something special now, right? You start feeding that energy. So that's what I'm just trying to say is like, one, do I believe it? I'm a 50-50. I lean towards yes, or like a amalgamation of that scene, but it's starting the movie. That's what has me very caught off guard of like, what a way to start it. Like to me, that's almost like how you'd end it. And the cliffhanger is like, to me, oh, right there. Where is right there? Let me get the rock in there. The cliffhanger, the last is obviously something happens to our heroes. And then just like they did with No Way Home, when they have Andrew Garfield on one side, Tom Maguire see one side, and they see each other for the first time. If you, I got the chills, baby. Where is it right
chills.
There?
Just as sure as a rock is covered in chills already.
If that movie ends with a bunch of stuff going on and it's Battle World or a bunch of stuff and all these characters together, but you have Hugh Jackman with when Hugh Jackman, and I'm assuming it's Deadpool's Hugh Jackman, when he sees X-Men that died in another universe, that should hit him fucking hard. That's going to be great. But then when you see, and this one's like, like even Deadpool, but who's that fucking guy over there? Who's that guy over there? And he looks over and he sees Tobey Maguire. If Doomsday ends with Hugh Jackman sees Toby sees Hugh Jackman, cut to black, people are fucking ready to go. People are going to be so excited for Secret Wars. And then you can start spamming that stuff, right? Where if you start the movie with that, maybe that's where you could start the movie with Toby and X-Men, and then the scene goes, then you get to Jackman. Like, to me, the Jackman and Toby thing is like, you need to save that. So to me, and it sounds like it's happening, it sounds like they're going to interact in Doomsday. I'm shocked. I guess the idea is maybe if they Two Towers it where they interact and it's just like, because I haven't talked about this in the story, but we've heard some rumblings that what is it? it sounds like the main characters of Secret Wars are Toby, Jackman, Holland, and Deadpool. And I don't know where Andrew fits in that, but those have been the ones, especially the Trinity, right? I think we all assume Holland, but sounds like Reynolds, Jackman, and Toby are kind of like the three. I don't know if that's them leading separate teams, or I don't know if it's a two tower situations where there are other teams, but that is one team and they are together, right? So maybe that's the idea of, well, we're gonna get them together in this movie so people want to see more of them. I do get that. I think there's just some risk of, well, I saw them, especially if it's a longer scene. If it's a quick scene, something short, then sure. But I think if it is a sequence or they were together for the movie for quite a bit, then you risk the, well, I've seen that, right? Because what for Secret Wars, if you like, and this is here's the thing: as long as Doomsday is good, you're fine. All these worries I have, where, oh, you've blown like Deadpool, whatever, you're fine if it's good. People will go for Secret Wars are fine. I'm saying if it's a rocky road to Dublin, as Sarah would say, you've already showed Doom, like Downey, you showed Evans, you showed Deadpool, you showed McGuire, and you showed Jackman. What do you got? I guess on this list, you can bring Snipes back. You got Nicolas Cage still. You got Holland. You have, I guess, Hulk. You got Garfield. So there is some people to pull from still. I'm just trying to think like you're throwing your 1-2 punch. Because to me, what everybody says is to me, Toby and Jackman are the top tier of the break glass, make a million, right? Or make a billion, right? If you show those in Doomsday, those are now gone, right? But that's where my hope is that they feel, hey, we're fucking like Doomsday, we feel good on. They're gonna come back to see the result of this, right? And I guess Thanos, he's another like tier guy you could throw up there, but like that's where that gives me hope is that we can show off these two here because people are gonna want to see more of this universe, the sequel to follow up. But like I said, let's say it's not as good, and then you got to go back. It's a little different because I feel like I've made this comparison where we've talked about Episode 10 recently for Star Wars, and like if they were to get Rey and Kylo back, I do think that would help. That's time. Time has given people to lick their wounds from the sequel trilogy or miss certain characters. Doomsday or Secret Wars is a year after that. And if they did Secret Wars Part 2, that's a year after that. You got to make people really invested and love these characters and stories to go. They love the characters, but I mean like what they're doing, right? I love Kylo Ren. Like I love like Rey, but there's certain things that happen. Well, yeah, there's certain things that happen in Rise of Skywalker that I didn't love, right? So that bad taste in my mouth. That's fine because it's the end. It's the end. I don't have to come back. They're gone forever now, right? You know, no one's gone forever now. But so yeah, we will see how much time I got here left. I got about 15 minutes. So let's see, 10ish. Okay. Let's break the box office. Let's break down the box office. I'll keep this up too because I want to see what's coming out next week here. All right, send help. So really bad. Excuse me, really bad week at the box office. Let me just get it up here. It is taking a little bit load. I agree because Mike, you say this, and Brent was the first person to ever tell me about the numbers. I agree. It's a much better site than Raw or Box Office Mojo after they redid everything. My only problem with the numbers is sometimes it's just like stalls and does not load. Like it takes forever, and it's happened to me like mid show too, where I'm like doing a thing, I'm looking for facts, and I'm just stuck. But luckily it worked here, so. Oh, excuse me, man. These numbers not great. Not great for a few of them. Like Avatar at number 2 is 7 million. Zootopia at 5.7 for number 3. That's great, right? Housemaid 4.2. That's great. So here's a few of them. Let's see. It looks like Avatar 3 will end about $1 billion under Way of Water. Hey, yeah. Because what is it at currently? Let's take a look here. Let's see. 1.3. So it's gonna get to 1.4. Yeah, I think it's petering out now. I could say like I don't feel bad about this because I said it was gonna be a 1.6 to 1.7, which was projected at one. The projections have been all over this because at one point it was projected as like a 1.89. Then like it could maybe even hit 2 billion because its second weekend did well, right? But now it's kind of petering out. I don't feel too bad because if I said my final was a 1.6 at 1.4. Do I think that's lower than they're wanting? Absolutely. And does that show some fatigue? Absolutely. Like I think the next one could still be $1 billion, but it's not like a guaranteed, right? Because I thought it would kind of drop the same thing, like another 300 million. So yeah, 104. It could even get to 1 or 1 4. It could get to maybe 145, like somewhere there. But yeah, I definitely don't think it's gonna finish at least where I had it. Which I thought was like I think a 1.6 is like a we're making this no matter what. I still think they're gonna make Avatar 4 because there's not many movies that make 1 billion. Yes, they are expensive. Maybe they'll try and shoot 4 and 5 back to back and get that done. And also, I think sometime between will make people miss them. But number one was Mercy. That's that Chris Pratt for Rebecca Ferguson. He's in the chair trying to prove his wife, or he didn't kill his wife. Made 22 million overall. Let me see. What was the budget on Mercy? 2026. Fuck, we're in 2026. I'm not the only person searching because it's the first thing that come up. 60 million. So again, obviously not going to matter because Amazon has fuck you for life money, but still not going to be a profit for sure. And obviously, take out the shitty stuff that happened in the States as far as some of the crime stuff going on. The weather, and that lots of people did say that people literally couldn't go to theaters this weekend. And even if they could, don't want to because it's fucking freezing. They're going to stay in their house, stay warm, stay in a blanket, watch movies at home. That's where I've said before, and we've all said this, right? But that's where the streaming aspect really comes in because that's where it's like, man, I'd like to see a new movie this weekend. And you have 5 streaming apps. I'm sure there's some new movie you haven't seen, whether it's from last year or a new original movie. Done. So these weekends going to be very tough. But yeah, 22 million. So yeah, that's tough. Oh, it sounds like people are saying Daredevil Born Again Season 2 trailer could be happening this week. Okay, interesting. I don't know if that's going to work for Trust. Told you. It's supposed to be Thursday, so great. So we'll see how that goes. So TBD. Let's see. And then, so the two biggest stories here, because I'll finish the top 10. 20 years later, Bone Temple 3.6, Mari Supreme at 3.5. Great for Mari Supreme. What is that at now? I know it's across 100. What is that at now? Let's see. I'll wait because it's taking forever to load. Return to Silent Hill 3.2 million. We're going to talk about that in a second. Hamnet at 2 million. Lord of the Rings Fellowship Ring 2 million. Oh, look at that. Primate 1.6, but then Lord of the Rings Return of the King 1.6 and Two Towers 1.6. Didn't get to see it. Twins are still too young. I want to get back there and see it. I would have taken the older girls, but fucking man, Gwen's dance just messes up with everything. There's so much dance and it just takes up so much time. Uh, so Mari Supreme is at 108. Great for Mari Supreme. Great number. Obviously, can probably do a little bit more once Timmy wins that Oscar and just a little bit more of a push. I know it's getting an IMAX release too, so there you go. But the two stories here. 20 years later, obviously that's one where you can say the storm had some stuff to do with it and people couldn't get out there, but man, for a movie that only made just domestic, I'm talking, and we'll see the full total in a second, only made 15 million on its opening weekend, because I talked about this with Taylor, but remember this. The first one made 30 million. This one was projected at 20 to 25. So at high end projections, what it came in about 10 million lower than the high end projections. Usually your saving grace is, well, at least when a movie doesn't do that well, the drops aren't that bad because it's already lower. You get that with bigger movies, right? Or you get that with bombs, because this dropped 71%. Heartbreaking for me. That's someone that loved this movie, loved this franchise. I hate that, to me, the 28 years later, these two movies have made this one of my favorite worlds ever in film or TV. Like the first two I like, but these two specifically, I have loved what they've done. I'd take a show, I'd take a video game, take comics, books, whatever. I love this. All I'm just really hoping, and they're already got their feet in the water, so I hope they're going to go through with it, but I just hope they do that third one. I'm very, very worried. You can hopefully go that, well, we want to work with Danny Boyle, we want to work with Alex Garland, so let's just go through with this. We already announced it. Hopefully, let's give this some more time, too. Don't put this out next year and make this like 2028. And you should do 2028, right? Because 2028, 20 years later, you can do some marketing. You got Cillian Murphy, but at that point, it's like, I was going to say, like, oh, you got the Oppenheimer hype, but I was going to say, like, fuck, what's going to happen if that Peaky Blinder movie's coming out and does nothing? Like, like obviously, they don't release a number to Netflix. Like, I'm happy they announced it, but I'm not going to believe it until cameras are rolling. Because in the way that Hollywood works and everything, and who knows, maybe because they just signed that Netflix deal, maybe they got some extra cash flow and they're just like, sure, let's do it. The way Hollywood works is just like, what have you done for me lately? And as a fan of the franchise, absolutely, I want them to go through with it. If you were asking me in a cutthroat business way, should you do this? Probably not. This cost them what, 60 million. That first one, like, it broke even. It was 63 million, made 150 million. So it broke even, not a massive profit, but made some profit, or a little, like, it was in the green at least for the upfront finances, right? Obviously behind the scenes stuff we don't know, but this is making, so 46 million. It's going to probably peter out at about its production budget. So that doesn't talk about P&A and anything else. So that's tough. Like, that's my hope, is that they just say, hey, we want to finish this out. Killian's there, hopefully get a boost. Maybe they might make him lower the budget a little. That could be it. Maybe it's, instead of a 60, it's a 50-40. They want to see it through, but it's tough. And hopefully the good word of mouth is like, and the reception goes, you know what, well, this last one's so reviewed well, we'll do that. But we have many instances of things being reviewed greatly and then not following up on. So that was a tough one. And then just about 400,000 below it, Return to Silent Hill. So this is interesting because me and Mike were talking about this, and S was in the Discord well that he didn't see anything. This movie for a while, like, I knew it wasn't a fucking fan film or something, but the way that movie that's coming out in a couple weeks, that Iron Lung, right? That guy that's what's the YouTuber, Mark Pillar or whatever, Mark Caterpillar. I don't know. I'm so bad with YouTubers and stuff like that. I don't know that game. Sorry, but that's that movie that he was a fan of the game, bought the rights, funded it, and it's getting this wide release and that type of stuff, right? To me, the Return of Silent Hill marketing has felt like that. Now, I had seen fans of the franchise talking about how they were doing some like viral marketing with stuff and some stuff that tied back to the old ones that they liked. People were also hyped because it's the original director of that first one, the movie, and they're like, oh, it's gonna bring back that vibe, everything. I had watched, I'll wait for what we've been watching, but I watched the first movie for the first time in my life last week. I did enjoy it. I've never been a Silent Hill guy. I've been more on the Resident Evil side, but I did enjoy it. So I'm sad for those fans. There's some brutal, weird stuff in there. So I'm gonna watch this because I watched the first one. I'm gonna watch both the other ones just to cross them off to see. But that's a big disappointment as well, and that's also just because fuck, like, what did, like, Resident Evil Raccoon City, Welcome Raccoon City, what, we looked this up recently where I don't think it was like did awful, right? I like, reviewed wise didn't do good, but let's see, is it, let's see, so, well, that, I guess actually no, pretty, like, so 25 million for the budget and then made 42 million box office. So probably didn't make a profit, and that actually is pretty low. And Resident Evil 2021, because when did Resident Evil 7 go, right? Resident Evil 7. I think it's before COVID, right? That came out 2017. Yeah. That's a game that started the resurgence, and the Resident Evil brand is, you could argue bigger than ever now. So that's where this next movie is set up, that if this next movie fails and has Zach Gregor, who's coming off Barbarian and Weapons and is hyped all the shit, if it fails now, Resident Evil, it's done. It's dead in the water. That's it. To me, that's where I, like, with Silent Hill, I was like they've had a couple of remakes, but it's like the hype is nowhere near Resident Evil, and those movies struggle. So it's like, is Silent Hill going to do good? Like, I didn't think so. So that's why when we were talking on the Discord, I just thought, no, like, I don't think it's going to catch 20 years later. I think it's going to do very poorly, and it did. And then to end this off, because I do got to get out of here, Mike asked, what are my predictions for Send Help? Not good. I don't know what the tracking is right now. What is the budget? Like, so, like, not trying to be mean, but like Dylan O'Brien or Rachel McAdams are not on the level of Chris Pratt or even Rebecca Ferguson. I think Rebecca Ferguson and Rachel McAdams are comparable as far as star power. Dylan O'Brien's below them. I was curious what the budget was. Bug report. Budget. Oh, I don't like this. Who knows? It says AR overview. It says it was produced with a substantial budget. I guess we'll find out this week. So, like, just to take from this week and look at it. So what? Mercy made 11 million. I do think Send Help looks better. I actually forgot. I thought Mercy made 22 million in domestic here for just a second. I made 11. Because, yeah, I just feel like Send Help horror's been doing good, and I feel like people might enjoy it a bit more. I'll say it. I'll eke it. I'm say it's gonna make. I want to go to 15, but the weather is legitimately going to be an issue. The weather is going to hold people back. I actually am going to say it's going to be 13 million. Because when I thought Mercy was 22 million domestic, no, I don't think it's getting past 20. I think 15 is its barometer, right? Sam Raimi name. Is he named though, Mike? He is. Like to us and like to some people, but I feel like unless their name are Scorsese, Spielberg, or Nolan, I don't know if GA knows any of these directors anymore. You know, like I don't know if they do. They've been trying to preview and showing it, but it's just like I just showed that to me last night when like Emily is more in a bubble than other people because she's married to me and I talk about this stuff. She had no idea who Cooper Hoffman was. So I'm like, oh, it's Hoffman's kid, and she's like, who? And she like took a little bit to like clock, and I had to explain like it's Philip Seymour Hoffman's kid, and she like forgot about Philip Seymour Hoffman. I'm like, he's one of the greatest actors of our time. Like, oh, like I know he passed away. I haven't thought about much. That's how like I, I wonder if you went on the stream, you ask people who Sam Raimi is now, um, how many people say they know who he is, and that's sad. And it's I'm talking about more the younger demographic, like the 30 below, because I feel like there's a lot of people that might not know Sam Raimi if they weren't hosting a podcast, like not by name. So I'm gonna say 13 with 15 as its capper, So, but we will see. That is Trash told you. I will be, as far as I can tell, we will be back tomorrow. Me and Taylor are going to talk about the Star Wars Mandalorian Heir of the Empire rumors. We're going to talk about the Maul trailer. We're going to talk about the He-Man trailer, Mario Galaxy trailer, bunch of stuff that's Taylor sent. You're going to have some fun. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. I hope you have a good day. And when you hear from us next, I'll not be bored.